that's it. Now we've pacified the dog, we can actually start with the episode. That's it, can't we?
Yeah, the dog's not happy with this new setup, is he?
It's really odd, yeah. Since we've moved into the new space, all of our cameras and lights and stuff now block over where like the garden doors are, and so apparently, yeah, he can't walk under a tripod. So it just gets really confusing.
He just stares at the tripods till we move them.
The world of podcasting that we live in, the joys of podcasting from home, I guess. But yeah, it's good to be back though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, it feels like, because we only record probably like once a month, don't we? We always have quite a lot to talk about at the end of when we have a session.
Yeah, I feel like other times as well. Like we've either had weddings or hung out and stuff. Where at the moment, where I think we've had like bank holidays and like you've been away and things like that, it just feels like life's been busy, and we probably haven't caught up literally from the last time that we recorded either.
Yeah, so, no, that's a good point. Normally we have a lot of weddings going on, or we'll meet at events and things like that. But yeah, it's literally been, it's been pretty full on with other stuff. I've been catching up on editing. I've finally caught up on last year's editing. Which I'm absolutely buzzing about.
That's a good success. That's a good.
I say last year's that actually happened a while ago, but then I had a couple of weddings in March, and now I'm like at 0. So
so you're completely so it's not even just last year's. You are literally at the moment.
As of like last Thursday, and I've got my first. Again, I've got one on Saturday, but I think my first 3 are like the shorter films. So I'm sort of easing my way back in. So hopefully I'll have time to focus on like the admin bits that you normally get to do in winter.
Again, you've said before, haven't you? Like that I think a lot of people get really, or use something that you've always tried to teach me, that like your editing list is something which is just a matter of what we do. So it's a fact of what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like your job is to film weddings or shoot weddings, edit them, and then move them on.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a time where you have an edited list. And if you haven't got one, sometimes it's not always a good thing, because it means that you haven't shot any weddings.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I think but it's still, when it starts to build up, or you've got stuff which is overdue, it is hard to not feel that kind of...
It's always on your mind, and even though like we sit on this podcast and we say, when, in the downtime, do this and that and the other, like there's something about doing your website or putting some like time into marketing when you've got a queue that just makes you think, should I really be doing this?
You can't do anything else until the queue is gone. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm caught up, and you've been starting your season, haven't you?
Yeah, so I think it's been 3 weeks since we recorded last, and I think I've had 2 weddings. Yeah. Which one of them I was just about to tell you the story of this wedding, wasn't I? While I was off camera, then I was like, nope, we're going to save it for the pod. Save it for the pod. Yeah. So I had a wedding on the first bank holiday weekend, so the 2nd of May. Yeah. Yeah, and it was probably one of my most local weddings all year. Yeah. It was the second, so it was 3 miles from my house. So I live at the top of Portsmouth. It was in Southsea on the seafront. Yeah. The weather going in had been really, really nice. Got to the day, the forecast wasn't great. I also knew that the football, there was an early kickoff, so to try and get through the island was going to be tough. Yeah. So again, we've had loads of episodes on kind of planning for weddings and making sure this stuff doesn't happen. So I always set my travel alerts on my wedding days in my calendar. So when Apple then pings up going, traffic is heavier than usual, you probably need to leave this amount of time. So normally from my house to this venue is probably 20 minutes at absolute most. So I'd always plan to leave half an hour before, so that's fine. Yeah. I was sat there eating my breakfast, and I got it's really busy. You should allow 45 minutes to get to the venue. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Left my house.
45 minutes?
To do a 20-minute journey, so it's 45 minutes. So I pulled the Apple app up, and to go one way, it was saying it was going to take me an hour and 12 minutes to go in a straight line through the island. To go round was going to be 45. So I was like, okay, brilliant. So I literally got in my car and left at that point 50 minutes before I needed to go. So I had like ample time. Got out of my road, the end of my road, and the traffic was already building up. So I followed the Apple Maps to weave through to wherever, and I just sat in traffic the whole way. I texted my bride whilst I was stopped in traffic, saying, I'm really sorry, the traffic's building up. It's telling me that I should be with you probably 5 minutes late. Yeah. Don't worry, I am coming. Yeah, no worries, whatever. Half an hour went by, I'd moved half a mile. Yeah. I took a picture of my Apple Maps here, and I think it said to go 2.8 miles, it was going to take like 46 minutes. Yeah. And then also,
what was this? Football?
It's a mixture of football traffic, and then I also realised that the Comic-Con, was on in our town. So I only realised this at the point when Banana Man ran past my car. So I was sat there in the traffic, and you know what it's like, the anxiety of like travelling from prep to a church is bad enough, but knowing that you're going to be late and there's nothing you can do about it. Like I couldn't turn off,
and you just
I couldn't go anywhere. I debated parking my car and walking at that point. Like I was like, well, I can't get a taxi because they'll sit in the same traffic. Like I'd come down the side of the island, so there wasn't like a train station or whatever, and I was getting more and more enraged. And then Banana Man ran past my car, and I was like, what the hell? And then as I got further on, I saw the sign saying, all, drop off for Comic-Con or whatever is this way. And so then I saw a guy looking forlorn, like hanging out the window of his car to see what the traffic was, dressed as Wolverine. So it was, it went once I got past that junction and turned off and made it through, I finally got to the venue at somewhere nearly 45 minutes late. So it took me almost an hour and a half.
You had to get on the Vespa for local weddings, didn't you?
Do you know what? At that point, I was like, that's maybe what needs to happen again. When I first started, I used to go to weddings on the Vespa, my camera bag trussed to the back.
Yeah.
And on a day like that, it would have been absolutely ideal when weaving through the traffic. And, but I think, again, it's just really difficult. Like, my bride was super understanding. Like, again, they'd obviously looked at the traffic and had to then put it in their WhatsApp group for guests to say, if you're travelling onto the island, beware of the traffic or whatever. But I still got there just over 2 hours before the ceremony started. The ceremony was across the road from the hotel that I was going to for prep. She'd not even started makeup by the time I got there. Her hair had been done. So in some ways I didn't miss anything. But I still think there's nothing worse than literally swerving, screeching wheels into a parking space, into the hotel, grabbing my bag and running to the venue.
Already flustered and feeling like there's a headspace you want to enter the wedding with, and it's not that headspace.
And I always try to make my mornings as calm as I can. I think I've come to realise that as soon as you feel on the back foot from the start of the day, that it's always hard to recover then. And I don't want anything that I've done to then have an effect on how that wedding looks. And again,
for me, it's walking into the prep room. Like, the way you get greeted when you walk into the prep room really sets up my day as well. Like, some people go, oh, hi, they come give you a hug, whatever, and some brides you just won't get anything out of them. You'll be like, oh, so how was it? Like, did you sleep all right? Yeah, fine.
Oh, you slept for a long time. The whatever follows that first knock on the door, you can tell exactly what you're going to walk into. It's like, if there's nothing, silence, you think, oh, they're chill. If you can hear screaming and laughter and whatever, you're fine. Or if you hear people shouting and are slightly angry, there's someone at the door.
Go out to the door.
You can tell things are fraught already. Luckily, they were super calm. But I think it really kind of honed that to me. This is a really good example of why I've pushed my prep time out to 3 hours before. So it's allowed me that buffer that I didn't miss anything. If I was due to start 2 hours before and got there, say, with an hour before ceremony, knowing there was a bit of travel, she probably would have been full hair and makeup and thinking about getting in her dress. And then that would have made me even more flustered, I think.
Definitely. Because you don't want to be that photographer who turns up and then starts going, right, I need this. Because you would need...
take your jewellery off that you would put on and that sort of stuff. So I think it was a really good lesson in that. But I think it also highlighted to me, again, just how much that feeling calm in the morning makes such a difference to the rest of the day. And then again, the couple was super lovely. The day was really nice. They had pretty, I wouldn't say bad luck with the weather. It didn't rain all day. But the plan was, obviously, it had been beautiful leading up to the wedding. The morning was beautiful. We went into a castle keep that has no windows, so you couldn't really see the weather change. So you walk out the aisle, they open the doors, and then you go out onto the terrace. As I was walking back down the aisle, obviously the coordinator opened the door behind me. I went straight out, and rain was tipping. And we were like, well, where did this come from? So we walked straight out into horrendous rain to then just run straight back in. And then for the 2 hours of drinks reception, we hopped to the fair in their VW camper to get some shots there. Nice. But the fair was really busy because everybody who was on the common had run into the fair, into the arcade, because it was raining. So then we struggled to get photos of them with the bus outside because it was raining.
Because it was raining.
But luckily, again, so I had to try and do my groups indoors then, which, on a day when you're already mentally kind of flustered.
And then you've got to really put out all the stops.
Dig deep and kind of do those things. So, but I've culled that wedding and I'm starting to edit it soon. And I kind of look back on it and go, do you know what? I've still done an okay job. I think there's a lot of times where I've done those and gone, in hindsight, you should have done this, you should have done that. Where I think we're looking through that, it's kind of, I think that's a wedding that I'm going to learn a lot more from than a day that goes really well. Because it's actually, no, even though you were feeling flustered and whatever, I still feel that I made some good choices to kind of, to get those groups done in the right place, or to, we're indoors, I'm going to stick the flash on.
It's making the best out of the situation, and probably best that it was early in the season as well. Because if you get those and it's late September and you've already done a ton of weddings and you're sort of coming out the back of a busy wedding season, sometimes it can feel harder to dig deep and do those things, and you might take some shortcuts.
Definitely.
Let's just not go out in the van because it's raining.
But I think, and luckily, post dinner, the weather did come out nice, so we were able to go and wander around kind of the grounds and down to the sea and stuff after dinner. So it wasn't as if kind of the whole day was like there was no chance to go outside at all.
Yeah.
It's just kind of that bit where like it could have rained all the time we were during dinner, and, it would have made very little effect to the day at all.
Yeah.
But I just kind of felt like that flustered of being late in the morning and then having the rain. Then it was definitely a wedding that's one that kind of really exercises your skills, I think. You pull on that knowledge and experience that you've got even more.
But again, that's why we did, like, I guess, do the 3-hour thing. I've done the 3-hour thing since the beginning, and even then I'll turn up a little bit early to sit and eat my meal doing that. But but I know I tell couples now, because I feel like I'm shooting a lot less prep than I used to. So I tell them now, like, I turn up 3 hours before, and then I say, don't worry though, it's not because I need 3 hours footage of you getting ready. I just want to turn up, integrate into the day, say hello to your coordinator and the suppliers and things like that. And I'd say, like, that's what I'm using those 3 hours for, as well as capturing stuff of you.
I think as well, like, your probably weddings more than mine, but most of us now, or a lot of weddings, which maybe is going to contradict what I say later, but we still work at a lot of all-in-one venues.
Yeah.
And I think I've been at prep when you've seen her or her bride looking at their watches going, Flourish should have been 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Flourish should have been 10 minutes. And then you can tell it's starting to bug them, or we've planned all this, and they just want everything to be there and kind of come together.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's not even about you working, but for you to just be there to kind of like stick your head into prep and be like, hi, I'm here, how are things going on? And if they've not even started hair and makeup yet, or there's not a lot going on, you can go out and fly the drone or go and do some venue stuff.
Yeah.
But even just to pop your head in and let them know that you've arrived, kind of say hello and kind of break the ice.
Yeah.
I think that you're one less person they've got to then fret going, is this guy going to turn up, or is everything going to be okay?
Yeah.
And there's no reason they should doubt you, but you know what it's like on the morning of a wedding. You want the day to go really well, don't you, as a couple?
It's that peace of mind of, they are going to turn up, it's fine, they are here, yeah.
And again, though, I mean, we did a whole episode, didn't we, on bridal prep, and again, a lot of that arriving early, again, was just kind of bedding in, talking to bridesmaids, making yourself kind of friendly to mum, the people you haven't met in the lead up to the day. But yeah, it was a really kind of interesting thing I walked away from that wedding, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but it's these weddings like that sit with me for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like, I think until I shot the next wedding, like the next week, I was like, I need to have a wedding that kind of feel that goes well.
Yeah.
And it really bothered me. It's like, come on. And then you start thinking, is the whole season going to be like this?
Yeah.
Am I going to literally be having to dig deep every weekend? Like, I just want one of those weddings where, like, but the day just comes to you sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, you have days where you can't seem to put a foot right, or you always have to really work to get in the right positions, or then some days everything just unfolds in front of you. So to have a wedding like just gone this weekend, just gone, where the weather was good, it was in like a venue where, and again the light just seemed to fall right in the ceremony for me, and this like it seemed to came together. And it's like, yes, the universe isn't against me this year. I'm not going to have another 2024 where I get wet. Just like the day before my weddings, the gorgeous sunsets, and the days of my weddings are horrible, because I felt that was 2024 for me.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
it was that
our end of season review for 2024 was like, weather was shit.
It was. It was a really rough summer that year. I think because on the whole, like, the weather's been fairly mild and stuff, that you do start to have those worries, don't you, at the beginning of the season? It's like, what is this summer going to hold? Yeah. And so it was nice to actually have a sunny wedding this weekend and feel that it's
interesting, isn't it? How those first weddings can shape how you feel about the rest of the year as well.
Yeah.
I know that this year, my first couple of weddings have been really quiet ones. And I'm looking ahead, like, I need that energy back, and I know that the next couple I do are due to be quiet ones as well, because obviously, like, my July and August ones are going to be the one, like, we've spoken about this before, because I probably show a lot more summer stuff than anything else. My sort of, I don't know if you say higher end, but more like out there, bigger guest numbers, high energy ones, they're all in July and August. So I've got like a sort of a slow ramp up to it, sort of thing.
I think by its very nature, isn't it? A summer wedding is very different to, say, even a spring wedding, or let alone a winter wedding. So I kind of think in terms of, the volume in which we shoot, but also the energy or the length of the days as well for sunsets and stuff is very sort of pyramided in the year, isn't it? So it's almost, I'm not sure that I could jump into like a really long, really energetic day as the first couple of weddings of the year, particularly after a long break, because you would struggle to kind of, I think you almost need that little bit of rhythm to kind of to keep moving through them. Yeah. But at the same time, I think it's hard. Like I say, I think that the weddings early in the year really do set the foundation.
Yeah, a friend of mine did a destination wedding as the first wedding of the year, I think.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And it was just like, it's like, I don't know if I would do that again, especially not in the first wedding of the year, because you're not in the mindset of it. Yeah. You're turning up to somewhere completely unknown. Whereas like if you go back to your first wedding of the year and you want to and it's a venue that somewhere you can just turn up, do your thing, sort of like brush off the cobwebs off of your gear and stuff like that, then
there's a certain degree of comfort, I think, in that, isn't it? To go, as much as like we always say, and I love to go to new venues, I really do, to get that creativity. I think, like I say, in those early parts of the year, I just need to go somewhere where I know I'm going to see a coordinator that I know is going to smile at me, or I know where to put my bag, I know where that I can almost, again, I can make different pictures because everything else is familiar, and but then to go, you need to kind of be already moving and kind of limbered and ready to take on the marathon that is a long high energy summer wedding or a destination or something like that. So.
I like the build up at the moment. Like it genuinely happens for me where I don't have anything. Like January to April was pretty quiet, and then sort of like end of May gets busier. June is like a little bit, and then July and August are absolutely mental, and the pattern has continued again this year. Yeah, and I don't mind that because then I can put all my energy into July and August, and that's fine. But it does mean like usually those sort of edits build up around that point. So if like someone from May says, "Oh, how long does it take to get the film back?" It's like, "Oh, a month." And if someone in August starts, it's like, "Well, there's about 5 weddings the same like 2 weeks before yours, so it might be a bit longer."
Yeah, they're going to be they're going to land on the pile a lot higher up. But also, I think this year you've got that joy of, obviously you were expecting Baby Spice last year, so you knew that the majority of your autumn into the winter, which for you would normally be editing cave time, was spent adjusting to fatherhood and that stuff. So your time at your desk was much more limited because you were helping out, and that stuff, all just adjusting to lack of sleep and having a newborn in the house. Where this year, that even if you do have those edits pile up over the summer, at least you know that you're kind of more in a steady routine now, don't you? That you can, that hopefully that you're not going to be dragging some of those weddings into the year after.
Yeah, it should be a lot more steady this year when she goes to nursery and things like that. So that will give me sort of more time, I guess. Like it's not like, I mean, Kate's on maternity leave, so she is looking after Addison most of the time, but it's a case of like having that sort of being able to get back into routine, and not that sort of thought of, oh, it's a nice day, should I really be like spending time with my family rather than Saturday?
It's more focused time as well, isn't it? I think, and we spoke about this in the past, and I can only imagine that if you're still, both of us work from home, have offices in our houses, that your living room is next door to your office, that if you can hear Kate playing with Addy, she's doing this. Do you want to know where you're going to miss out on like a first couple of steps because you need to finish a highlight film? But once she's off at nursery, your brain naturally allocates to that. Oh, well, I've got 4 hours today that I need to get this done. But to the large degree that is uninterrupted, focused working time, and it's almost back to how it used to be.
If there's giggling or whatever going on in the other room, it's just like, I need to go and see this because I can't.
It's just Kate watching telly. It's not baby.
It's just her crawling around in the hallway.
But it's interesting how things kind of change, isn't it, or how it is going to evolve. And like this year, it's really nice to be caught up. But I imagine that that's just an anomaly from what happened. That's not something which you're going to have to kind of make big changes for.
I normally have like probably about 3 weeks with no weddings on the pile to like catch up and do things. But this year I've probably I finished last week and I got my next one, so I've had probably like 3 days, 3 full like working days, because I've got to go into a wedding as a guest on Thursday, staying there for the night. So really, like it's been 3 days. So I've had to sort of, as the edits have been tapering off, do bits of the website between those bits, and you can't really like get into it, I don't think, until you just literally sit down for a day and go, I'm having a website day.
I think again it's like we were talking about the wedding earlier, isn't it? Is I almost kind of feel that I need to get my head in a certain zone, like take my photography hat off and put my web designer hat on, and I kind of have separate lists and stuff for that. Okay, this is the stuff that I want to do to the website, and this is that. So I can almost feel like I'm turning the page onto the website page of my notebook today, and I'm going to work through this. Where I'd love to be that workflow guy that had that automatically gets blogged, or I'm adding to the portfolio as I'm going. But again, I don't feel like that. I almost need to feel that I have, catch up with this edit whilst that's exporting, then I've got this time to do this. And very much, because we are wearing all of the hats in our business,
it's hard to wear more than one at the same time.
And I think, again, like that, I felt much like that with bookkeeping as well. That's become kind of a new thing for me to worry, because I used to be terrible at doing my books once a year. Like it would, I'd get my bank statements, but I'd only sit down and kind of account. But now that we've moved into this Making Tax Digital, I know that I've got a fast and figures then. I've been trying to use like an app to kind of log my building. So particularly like logging mileage as I'm going, rather than just sitting there with my Apple calendar at the end going, that was this far. I'm really trying to change the habit of okay, I've just come back from there. I'm going to log that journey now.
Yeah.
Or, okay, I'm going to, in the
really
morning,
struggling with that.
I'm going to kind of, okay, my bank statements are finally updated onto the app. I'm now going to log those expenses.
The quarterly thing and like trying to keep up to date with like what we're expensing and scanning in receipts and everything, because usually I'll just like get a pile of receipts and then like I would scan them into like OneDrive or whatever, and then at the end of the year, like sort of like just after I do mine in April anyway, like I know you do yours in January, so I do mine in April, and then I would just like get all the receipts off OneDrive, put them into the Excel spreadsheet. But like now the thought of, obviously because I'm using like the Monzo's version of Making Tax Digital, and it's like now every single transaction you make, you've got to mark it as an income, mark it as an expense, attach a receipt to it, and I'm really struggling with that. I just haven't got my head around it yet.
I think for me that having to need to do that task, even though it's only literally a couple of minutes, probably once every few days, it's still carving that time out, where again normally I put my accountant hat on in the first week of January and do it all in a day and go, oh great. So but I am enjoying the kind of already starting to see my tax being allocated and going, okay, well I know, like before I used to have to just chuck some money away into like a tax pot and then kind of give myself a bonus if I'd save too much, where now I can start to see already like, okay, that is kind of my live tax amount.
Oh, does it tell you?
Mine, so I'm using the PyTax app, and so as you build up your income and expenses, underneath it says tax owed. Then it will tell me how much at the moment I actually owe. So obviously as I go through the year, then that will rise. So as long as I know that I can, I'm saving, my saving for tax pot is keeping up with what the figure's telling me. It should be okay.
Yeah, because you never know with that bonus. Like I'm the same as you. I'll put some money away, and whatever's not used, it's like, oh, that can go towards some gear or something. Camera gear, that is.
Yeah. Big old party because you
but you never know whether that bonus is going to like be, you're going to have to use it for the next year's tax or whatever.
Or it rolls on for something else, or if you have a quiet year of bookings, so you're actually going to need to pull that back into the income part.
So having that planned out, I don't think Monzo does that. I'm going to have to look into it because I've definitely not been keeping track of it, and it's probably.
I might do a plug for actually, because I've been using. Someone put me onto the PyTax app. It's free, and then you can use them for that. But if you want them to then basically do your accountancy for you, you pay them a one-off fee. There is a referral code in my app as well, so maybe I'll chuck it in the description. So if anybody else is struggling or not knowing how you do it, because if you're in that turnover bracket that your business turns over 50,000, you do need to be logging all of your expenses now, don't you? To ready to give them your figures quarterly. I'll put it in there, and if anybody wants it, I think you get something for it, and I get something as well.
Does it connect to your bank?
Yes. Okay. So you can attach multiple accounts if you want to. Obviously, I only have one business account, so mine's linked to there, and it naturally just puts the things over. Then you can just swap them as income or as expenses. It gives you again an option that you can take a picture of a receipt, and it stores it all in app and stuff like that.
I think that would be handy for me because I often make big purchases on credit card. It's just out of like just my natural instinct, because it's more protected than that. I always make big purchases on credit card, but then I'll change my credit card halfway through the year, and then I've got to dig out a receipt, and because I haven't got that credit card anymore, it doesn't
with this
exist.
You'll be able to add that credit card to like the account pool, but all it would do then is pull every transaction from your card over. So then all you would do is just not
mark
log.
a load of them as personal.
You can mark them as personal. Because I did that occasionally. Obviously, like I pay myself a wage out of our account, or because I've also had a tax pot. If my business account starts to get big, I'll just scoop some money off into the savings pot. So the other day it was like, oh, we've noticed like a chunk of money's come out of your account, and it's like, no, that's not. You don't need. I haven't paid for anything. It's just gone into that savings pot. So you can mark those as personal.
I thought it'd be better to go with Monzo and stick with, because I hate having like tons
because
of different
it's built
apps.
into the banking that you used anyway.
That does sound,
I can give you a little showdown of the app later,
cool.
and again, look it up. Again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they give everybody a referral code, and seeing as I'm here telling you about it, it'd be rude not to add it to the description.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
we've gone off on a wild tangent here, haven't we? But
we had a few little things to talk about, and off we've gone. But it's been 3 weeks since we've recorded, and I feel like there's been kind of a couple of things kind of bubbling away in the industry, some topics that have come up, and also a couple of things that have happened. So this episode was always supposed to be a catch up, but the things that we've spoken about weren't particularly things that were on the agenda. I think in the photo front, the biggest thing for me that's kind of happened is PicTime 2.0.
So I've seen you and Josh sharing things about this, and I've not even looked into it. So tell us. So
obviously PicTime's been running for a bunch of years now. I think I would probably say it's the front runner in photo in like a delivery service. There are obviously others, Shootproof's out there, Pixie Set's out there.
The vid flow
is pretty much the vid flow of the photo world. I moved to PicTime I think 3 years ago, mainly because they have a lot of automation built in or at the time when I moved, the automation for kind of building sales workflows for prints and albums and stuff were a lot more slick than Shootproof that I was using. The way that their galleries come together just looks better. And also you could build slideshows within your galleries, which is how I did. So I used to be paying for another company called Smart Slides to do my slideshows and then host galleries separately.
Yeah.
So the fact that I could lose the Smart Slide subscription to do it all in-house, that saved me money and something that looked better.
Yeah.
Over the time, they've added features, if you're not going to use like the vendor network, so you can now, when you make a gallery, you can log all of the email addresses of all the vendors you use, and then you can just assign those to galleries.
Nice.
And it uses AI to send them. So for example, if I logged a florist on a wedding, and then went into the vendor network and was like, send this to this florist, it would use AI to scan the gallery, pick out all the pictures that have flowers in them, and send them to the florist.
Sick. That's
so
so
that
good.
so there's a lot of that. So again, so it does a lot of work in helping you share your galleries and stuff.
Yeah.
But with the new 2.0 interface, they did like kind of like something is coming, and like they got a lot of their ambassadors on to like, they got to test it, and then like they filmed their feedback, and they almost built it up like they had like a proper like Apple style launch.
I was going to say, what does that mean? They just did a full video.
So they had a couple of hype videos saying on this day at this time you can register to get your seat to tune in and watch.
Yeah.
And they had, say, a bunch of their ambassadors on, and then they unveiled in like a big online sort of slideshow. They had like a guy there directing it and stuff to show you all of the new rollout of the new features.
Yeah.
And they basically just made it a lot more sexy. So I, for a long time, have wanted the customization of your galleries to look at, to be there. So at the moment you had to have more as a set color scheme for your galleries.
Yeah.
And that was it. You could change some of the colours, but not all of them. So now with the new update, I can make all of the colours of my galleries match my website. Nice. So if I want the background to be green, I could do. So I don't use plain white. I use an off-white.
Yeah.
So I can now make my gallery the same off-white as my website.
Was Peak Time pretty like black and white, wasn't it, for the most part? Is that
some stuff you could customize, like some of the online stuff you could add some colors into, but you were very limited on fonts, and there were, say, only 6 or 8 cover options, where now with the new update there's a bunch of like animated cover options as well, and scrolling text, or you can make it like stack prints on top as you open it, so there's a bunch more like animation and features like that. Before, you could only add your fonts in for like slideshow covers, not for gallery covers and text, where now you can change. I don't think the full customization for fonts has come yet, but there's now a lot more options for how your galleries look, the way you break up sections.
Yeah.
So it looks very much before, like if you open someone's gallery, you'd go, oh, that's Pick Time.
Okay.
Because you'd know that was their font and that's how it looked.
Yeah.
Where now, I think to a degree, if you used it, you probably would. But between photographers, it's much more than just upload your logo now and that's what you're given.
Okay.
You can really dial in kind of you like particularly your colours and your branding to make it look less pick-timey and more like you're offering a delivery service.
Yeah.
And also as well, they've done a bunch of updates to the shop. So that before, which is one of the other reasons that I moved, is that when I used to use Shootproof, they had an online shop, which again, you kind of order, you pay a lab to print it, and then they ship it to you or to the couple or whatever. They just used to use stock images. But when I moved to PicTime, it would update in real time to your pictures. So when they opened the shop, they could see like a sample of their photo.
Oh, nice.
So it felt more tangible. They've now gone even further with that now, that you can render that. Like the renders for scale and stuff are a lot better. So if you go, I'm going to buy a big frame print for my wall, like the kind of the visualization of that is better. And also, you can also have album design companies on there. And before, like your couples could design their own albums and then just pay for them. Yeah. They've now brought an AI tool into that as well, so that you could almost select your favourites, and then when you go into the album tool, it will automatically use AI to generate a layout for you. Yeah. And things like that. So again, it makes it much easier for the couple if you wanted to kind of relinquish your designs of albums and go to the couples, you just design them on there.
Yeah, because a lot of these companies, like I've been looking at photo books for holidays, and you download an app, put photos in, and an AI like makes all of like the layout for it. So it makes sense to have that.
Yeah, and I think before it was quite clunky. That I've never used the album side too much. I've always designed books for my couples, and not offered them through the shop. But now I think with this, that naturally the images they favourite in their galleries could then be used to populate, and it kind of do it automatically. The barrier to entry for a couple to sit there and think, well, I've still got to design my own album. Where with this, obviously it makes a lot of the assumptions for them, and it starts to make it that gap of me maybe giving up album control and just going, I'll design them through there. I still get the profit for it, but without the effort of having to design it.
I feel like that's what PicTime has, or I don't know much about it, but has done really well just from hearing it through you, is like upselling and things like that. It just seems really easy for you to, the gallery goes on, and then like this money just comes trickling in where people are buying prints and stuff.
Very much, and the ability for you to build kind of workflows around sales. So I have like an early bird automation, so that anybody that logs into that gallery, I make people put their email addresses in when they log into the gallery, whether you're a guest or a couple or whatever.
Okay.
So then a day after you log in for the first time, you'll get sent a 20% off code for prints in the gallery.
Yeah.
That runs for the first 6 weeks that the gallery's live.
Yep.
There's also automations that you can run, say, for anniversaries. So if you leave the gallery live for 3 years, in the week leading up to the couple's first anniversary, you could do, oh, hey, it's coming up to your first anniversary, have 25% off prints for this week, so that you can celebrate your anniversary. You can run Black Friday ones, you can run, Valentine's ones, and they're all set workflows that you can build and customize how they look, whether they pop up as banners in the gallery when people log in, whether they get emailed for them, and you can customize templates for those. So they take a little bit of setting up. But then once you build a new gallery, you can just toggle which automations you want to run on that gallery.
Yeah. It's like anything though, isn't it? Like
it is. So again, once it's taking that time to do the setup, and I've always found that PickTime support have always been really good, that if you struggle to set it up, you can jump on a call with them and get on and actually speak to somebody who will help you with that process. It's not kind of... You're not just left out on your own with it. So again, we're not sponsored by PickTime. I'd like to be, because they don't want to pay as much for it. But I think a lot of people use it, or even again, they now offer video integration as well. Yeah. So I don't think it's quite there in terms of kind of VidFlow levels for the volume that maybe full videographers could use it. But the definitely people that are using hybrid. Yeah. Obviously, now that VidFlow does photo now as well, doesn't it? So kind of it's leveling the playing field a little bit. Yeah. But
they're becoming the crab.
I do wonder. I do wonder if that was a retaliation too.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because I still think as well that from what I've seen of other videographers that have shared galleries with me and stuff, that VidFlow is still quite limited in the way that you can tell it's a VidFlow gallery.
Yeah,
I mean?
Definitely.
Where if they could bring in a level where you could put your own fonts into it, you could make the branding, or there was multiple options for kind of templates and layouts and stuff. Yeah, you could use your own preferences rather than what you're given.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that kind of leads on nicely to something which there's an episode we're recording later, which have a lot more detail about this, and will probably be released before this one, but is actually that I've actually made, like, finally bypassed VidFlow and sort of made my own version of a video delivery system. And again, I think, like, after making my own sort of CRM, I thought I want everything integrated into this one piece of software that I can go into. VidFlow for me is probably a little bit overpriced. It's again quite limiting. It's one of the things, like we've said on this podcast before, that like the updates don't come quick enough to make
with any
what you're
app,
paying
and that's not just shade at VidFlow, is it? We've said in the past, some of the reason you built your own CRM is because there's stuff that's been promised in Studio Ninja for a long time that hasn't come. I know that that in an episode, and that was probably last year sometime, that when VidFlow started making some changes, or the way that you needed to use credits for things, that you kind of called out the shadiness of that, and the not informing their client that would be the case.
Obviously, like we've said it on the pod, I'm not afraid to say it. Like I think they went the route of just trying to suck as much money as possible by removing the little credit counter and the notification that says, you've put more than 5 gigabytes into here, do you want to use credits? And now it just automatically just sucks the money out and is done with it. And also you're paying, I think where they make the money really is paying like yearly for the white labeling of having your logo on and things like that, which I never went for. But overall, I just think it was limiting. They weren't adding enough stuff to it. And so I thought I'd try and make my own. And
do you think as well, though, once you'd built the CRM and obviously you're reaping the successes and the feeling of having complete control over that now, it's the well, how far can I take this?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, why would I pay someone else more money for a service that I'm not 100% happy with? Knowing that I've been able to do that on the CRM side and it's worked. It's just the next evolution of
exactly.
That.
It's like, okay, what can I do, and what am I paying monthly, yearly for? Whatever. I'm putting a few hundred probably into VidFlow every year. Especially now with the camcorder stuff, which is a little bit like, sometimes it can be like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're like, I've just got to put that all in, and that's like a few gigabytes. But so I sort of like looked up the best way to do it that was like a little bit cheaper. I do it in a similar way in terms of VidFlow compresses it after a year anyway. But I'm not compressing it. I'm doing it as a sort of like, it takes slightly longer to load after a year. So for the first year, it's on there at all times. And after a year, if it hasn't been used for a certain amount of time, it'll go into like some sort of archive, and it takes a little bit longer to load.
Again, so the couples that do regularly watch, theirs will still stay at the forefront. It's only when that has been unviewed for so long. Almost once the cobwebs start to gather on it, it can go into storage.
Yeah, and that actually makes it cheaper. And then like just little things, like small touches that you just wouldn't be able to do. Like I've been able to white label it without paying a penny, and it now lives under spiceweddingfilms.com, so that it looks like no one's what's VidFlow then or whatever.
Yeah. I must admit that's something that not bothered me, I suppose, but like naturally when I've had kind of some issues in the past with people trying to log in issues with PickTime, and I've been a little bit like, well, how do I do this? And it's like, I have to then go back to PickTime support and go, well, they're struggling with this, or they're like, oh, well, because you have to make an account with PickTime. So the idea is if you ever log into a PickTime gallery, you head and have an account with them and you can see everything you've logged into. Yeah. But so if they logged in to say that their friend's wedding gallery, they already have a PickTime account. Because I had a bride once, it was like, oh, I did that. She's like, I've already got an account and this email address. I don't know what the password is. Like, can you tell me from your end? And I said, no, because I can't see your account. I can't see the gallery I've made. Yeah. So there are frustrations like that, obviously, which then when you control all of it,
the top-down process.
Again, it still comes up with, weddingsbytom.picktime. So you're still almost going out to a third party where you can make it feel a lot more in-house by it all being under your website banner.
Definitely. If it was in-house, it matches, like, rather than just a random like string of text at the end of VidFlow / it now is the couple name and the year. So it literally is like spiceweddingfilms.com / then couple name and the year. So like they just know instantly. They can kind of remember it.
And it's almost subtle branding for you as well. I know you're obviously company names in before, but then every couple that goes over to that, it's still almost a link to your website.
Everyone that shares it.
And everyone's smart enough now to really go, oh, I'm looking for a videographer. Okay, I'll just knock their name off the end and it'll take them to your website. Like, that is your domain.
Yeah, exactly. Things like a review prompt at the end of the first watch of the video and just things like that. Like I can now just add things as I wish to add them, and it is making it a lot easier. And maybe we'll talk about it probably more in the other episode, and you would have heard that already, and this is just repeating it. But I think it's nice to be able to do that if it's something that you're confident in doing. Yeah,
for those of you that haven't heard that episode, and again, we've not even recorded yet, so I can't tell you exactly what's in it. But this afternoon, we're going to be talking to Steve from Blue Ridge Films, aren't we? Who's made an on the day app, I guess.
On the day app for timings.
So you can kind of get notifications when it's cake cut time now and things like that. So you can build your schedules in his app, and then it will give you live notifications. So if you've skipped over that episode, or wondered what it was about, that's what that episode's about, and we're going to record that this afternoon. And I think there's going to be a much wider conversation there, of course, obviously about his app and about Prelude, and about another really cool product that he's made, because the mic mags obviously are his. But also I think that's going to lead to a wider conversation, isn't it, about the way that I think, or we spoke about in the past, things are going to go where more people are going to start to build their own apps, I think, or almost solo business developers like yourself are going to start to do more of that rather than rely on these big companies.
Obviously you need the time, the motivation, a little bit of money to do it, but how much would a CRM have cost to build? Like I remember apps would cost like 8 to 10 grand to build before, only 10 years ago, whereas now you can literally put one prompt into an AI and it's built you the app that you want to build. Like the CRM took me a while because I was inexperienced with it, but that only probably cost me £300 in total,
which is a
Student Ninja's
really,
£200 a year. And it doesn't do half the stuff that mine does. So and obviously I can customize it, and if you built your own, you could customize it for the way that your workflow works and things like that. And so there's this theory of the internet where in case you haven't listened to the other episode, where like people are, like you say, go into, rather than be like, okay, what's the best CRM, they're going to go onto an AI and just make their own in like 5 to 10 years time, because that's going to be the easiest way to get what they want from it.
Unless I think, or the bigger picture of that again, I think, is that the big companies are going to have to do something where they offer a lot more customization or listen to feedback a lot quicker. Because you're always going to get people that don't have the money, know-how, or bothered enough. They always just want to use somebody else's. And so those companies will always have a need. But I think at the same time, if it is the entry level to build your own is a lot lower, that these companies are going to have to be almost using what you're doing. If you can make a change to your business and you're a one-man band it's not your full-time job in 10 minutes, so why can't a company like Adobe or PickTime have huge offices and hundreds of employees get these changes rolled out?
You see the comments on the Student Ninja Facebook page now. Like, if I can create a whole app in a day, how come Student Ninja can't integrate meeting bookings in 2 years or something?
It's true,
it is true.
And I'm sure there is a whole, there's a whole system behind it and an authentication process and the rest of it. But on that base level, it's really hard to not see how that's not a thing. When people now that arguably don't have as much knowledge as the people that build their app can do it.
It's almost like they're trickling out new features I think.
Yeah.
I think it is a case of like, well, we've still got the user base, and still people start leaving.
Yeah.
If we see people start leaving, then we'll just introduce a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll have to drip feed a bit more.
They're just drip feeding, basically. Whereas they could probably add it. They've got to flip the switch to flick. I know that's a bit tin hat, but like, I don't see why it's taken them so long when it would literally take them, it wouldn't take them.
Again, as well, like as much as some of the stuff that you could argue that I've just spoke about with pick time maybe could have come sooner. But then build it up to be something. Do you know what I mean? Like they almost, to get a bunch of features, make an event out of it, roll it out and give it, like I'm sure there's a lot of people now that are using other gallery softwares that saw that reel of the photographer with lots of followers going, oh, I can't believe that this didn't look like this before. And oh my God, this looks so good. And like you build hype around something, don't you? Which is good marketing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't use PicTime it was starting to turn their head going, do I need to use this?
Yeah.
Because they built it to be something, you know? So maybe drip feeding's on it, or just get those features, save them up.
I love the PicTime 2.0.
Like, and it sounds really like you made something out of essentially just updates, but it is cool.
Talking about that, my favourite topic, DaVinci Resolve.
Yes.
They updated it recently to add photo editing.
Yes, I've seen this pop up in a few places, but and I'm excited. I would like to give it a try, but I think there are some limitations of that at the moment, though, like in terms of like obviously in Lightroom you build catalogues and then you edit and stuff, where I think at the moment that's more kind of standalone, if that's the right word, or you load stuff in, you edit, and then I'm not sure it kind of archives and catalogs in the same way that Lightroom does. But again, for the conversation we've literally just had, I think if they start to see that there is a market for it and people are picking it up and using it or having better results with it than Lightroom or Capture One or whatever, that's easily something that they could evolve.
It feels like there's a big live battle going on now between Adobe and DaVinci Resolve, and I think like Adobe have just changed their color grading, like Premiere Pro has just changed the color grading to like match Resolve's a little bit, and then Resolve's like, well, here's a photo editor so you can go in and do what you can do in Lightroom, but I believe it's free. So
or again you do that, you pay. I know that obviously Resolve is a pay once thing, which a lot of businesses, Adobe used to be the same, didn't they? You bought the main software, then you wait again.
If you didn't want the updates, you wouldn't buy the next one. Yeah.
And I do wonder if now that, particularly, say with that paying monthly, that almost again to offer an alternative to that, there always are some people that are going to much prefer that. Just go, I just want to pay for it and have it, rather than constantly like it's something I need for my business. It's not Netflix or whatever. I don't want to pay monthly for it, especially when you pay monthly and the features don't come. Like it's
until the competition gets strong, and like you say, the user base drops off, and then it's suddenly like, oh well, we can do color grading like that as well. Why didn't you just do that in the first place?
Then,
but I've got the beta of DaVinci Resolve because I decided to upgrade because they do, what you're talking about, the AI search for like florist or whatever. They implemented that into Resolve, and me and you, we went to the photo video show, and there was a company there who you could import all of your photos and videos and then type what you wanted, and it would find like dress, flowers, whatever. It would find that stuff, and I actually subscribed to it for a couple of months to see if it worked, and it was very, very good. And I was like, the aim was obviously like it would be much easier to like sort through your footage and things like that, but Resolve have put that in now, so I downloaded the beta for it,
and so you don't need the other app anymore.
And all this to say that when the beta updated, all of the update, there was a massive list of updates, and they were all like based on the photo tab. So I think they've just basically gone, oh yeah, probably we should add that, because the photographers are all being like, well, we'd use it, but we need this first. And I'll have to report back on what they are to you, because I know you said you're interested.
I must admit, I think a lot of people, like loyalty, I think means less and less these days without sounding kind of an old person. But at the same time, when you're running a business, you need to use the best tool for your job. And I honestly feel that I have changed nothing in terms of lens or camera. So it's not as if that I'm putting bigger files into Lightroom now, or I've changed computer to a lesser model or dumped it in anything different. But I would say over the last couple of updates, my Lightroom has felt more slower and sluggish than the rest of it. And I've done all the things that it says to keep it moving faster, but it just seems glitchy on some stuff.
Are you using Classic?
I'm using Classic, and but then now I think with the introduction of AI stuff, it doesn't want you to use the AI tools on smart previews, which before obviously you'd always use smart previews so that you're working on tinier files, so it edits faster and stuff. And now it's not wanting you to do that. So it's like tools that I don't always need for every image are causing me to slow down my editing process. So if I could move somewhere else that gave me the same end result for a much easier user experience, because let's face it, like unless you're using aftershoot and tweaking or not doing loads of your own editing, I spend a lot of my day in Lightroom using it. And so it's like I want something which is going to make that the most enjoyable and efficient process possible. So if I could move somewhere else that would give me that, or the fact that I've been using Adobe for the past 20 odd years, I don't think that it was the loyalty wouldn't count for enough in the end if they couldn't give me what I wanted and somebody else
and
could.
That's why a lot of people moved from Premiere to Resolve, because there was something about the fluidity and the speed of it. You hit stabilize in Premiere Pro and you're sat there for like even 15 seconds. By the time that's happened, I'm on my phone. Whereas like Resolve would do it in like 1 second, then it's stabilized.
And because it's fast, you don't even pick the phone up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember like back in the day with video, I've got to leave it to export overnight. And so you literally would work to the end of the day to finish the project because you know that it's got to export. And if you watch it the next day and it's one glitch in it, you've then got to then wait another whole day. And you've wasted a whole day on one computer for it to export.
I remember on my old MacBook when I first started, like it would take me like 10 hours to export one of the longer like 40-minute films that I used to do. And I just have to do it overnight, and I'd watch it and I'd be like, there's an error in that. Are the couple going to notice?
Because of that time delay of having to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely moving that way now, isn't it? Or again, is that I think people are different now, or then that loyalty, or you don't have to put up with those things anymore because there are alternatives out there.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of links kind of into what we were actually supposed to talk about today, is that I think, there's been a bunch of stuff, hasn't there, on the internet about kind of the ghosting chat's come back again.
It has come
and
back.
I must admit, I'm not sure that I really want to dwell on it, because I feel like at this time last year we had a very similar conversation, and I don't think that my opinions about it have particularly changed very much.
Okay.
I still think there's a massive culture, I think, in any industry where some people just love to moan or jump on a bandwagon. Oh, group photos, they're easy to hate because everybody else hates them. Yeah. Oh, you're getting ghosted. Yeah, so am I. Oh, it sucks, doesn't it? Like, and yes, it does suck. Like, and there's different levels to it. I think people are finding it worse this time because they feel that now it's not just, someone's inquiring with 20 suppliers and then seeing what comes back and making a decision and ghosting the other at 19. Now it's getting to that level where people are going, can you write me a proposal for this?
Yeah.
Let's jump on a Zoom, and having, they're spending a lot of actual man hours nurturing these couples' inquiries to then hear nothing.
Yeah.
That would really upset me.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, don't put your energy into just going on the internet and moaning about it.
Yeah.
Like, try to get to the bottom of why this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a follow-up process in place. Or do something. Do you know what I mean? Try to work out what caused the ghosting, or them to not go this, or can you just send them an email, that you've built 7 days later going, basically, are you going to book? Yes or no? All you have to do is hit the yes or no. Again, you buy anything on the internet, you get sent a feedback. If you leave a website now, something that goes, can you tell us why you're leaving? So look, there must be something. Do you know what I mean? If it's really grinding you that it's costing you feel you've put a lot of time in to just get ghosted, like there must be an energy that can be spent to try to work out why that is, rather than spending your time writing.
I think the problem is that no one knows what that exactly is, because it's happening. It definitely is happening more, right? That's probably a fact that ghosting is happening more now. Can any of us really actually be like, it's because of this? Like, all we're doing is just like going back round and round in this echo chamber of, it's cost of living, it's Amazon like Prime effect, it's this. Like, none of us actually know why, and I think that's where the panic comes from.
I also reckon as well, and again, maybe I'm playing massively like cynical here, and I don't want to be, I'm not coming after anybody. If everyone's got to do what they write, is their business. But I also think that ghosting in other industries has been happening forever. Like, I'm sure there's times where I've got a quote to do some building work on my house, and I might have got 3 builders round to give me quotes, and I've gone with the guy that I've gone with, and maybe I haven't always rung the other guy and gone, thank you for popping round, but you're just way too expensive, mate, or I didn't like you, I didn't want you in my house for the next 3 weeks, because I wouldn't have felt that I could have said that to them. And so they maybe are annoyed, or maybe one of them have come back to me and gone, look, I'm not offended if you don't want me to do your work, can you just tell me? And I've got that point going, yeah, sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we've probably all done that in our own lives of things, or you've inquired about a service online, like you've gone to go and look at something, they go, sure, that's too expensive, or actually I don't want to go after all.
Yeah.
And it's not personal against any of the people, and I'm highly aware that when it happens to me, I do take it personally, and maybe they do as well. But maybe, I think, again, so maybe all of us are part of the problem, and it's just that not in my backyard process. If it's fine for you to do it to other people until it happens to you. It's
like when I sit there and go, I've sent every couple last year a review link, and like 2 people have reviewed me. But how many times when I do a TripAdvisor like excursion, and I think, this is amazing, they go, can you review me? And I, yeah, definitely will, and I don't do it. So I'm part of the problem here.
I think there maybe is a lot of that going on, is that life is just moving that way now. Or I think I put in our notes as well, is that people shop differently, I think, now. Like, there's so much of it where you don't need to speak to anybody, or you don't need this. And again, the whole, do you have your price on your website? Don't you have your price on your website? Do you give away kind of, your secrets is a stretch, but how much information do you include without them being worried that other suppliers are going to rob it and do things your way?
Yeah.
Or do you get to a point where you're so mysterious that couples have to inquire to even get a price and how much hours are you or whatever? And it's like, if you'd just given them some of that up front, they could have done some of that vetting process without you having to spend all of your time to then
That's
get
the
ghosted.
first thing to look at, isn't it? Like, if you don't have prices on your website, you're basically asking to be ghosted.
Yeah.
Like, I know that might be a hot take, but it's true. Like, having your prices not on your site, obviously, yes, okay, it will allow you to be flexible depending on the venue and the travel and whether you want the wedding and yada yada. But then, as we found out in my little experiment last year, you're going to get tons of inquiries just aren't bothered about.
And I think that thing
much.
is so market specific.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't want to sound like I'm like flame throwing anybody here, but I think the pricing on request thing only ever really worked once you get to like luxury markets.
Yeah.
Like when you go into like a real high-end designer store and nothing's got the price on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost that level of
because those people don't care. They just want what they want.
They don't care. They just want it, or it's whatever. You're not that person that looks at a price tag first before you decide whether you really like it and try it on because you know you want it. And so I wonder if there's a lot of suppliers that have tried to make themselves appear more high-end by going to the pricing option, or like you say, if you're someone that works UK-wide, like I pretty much service my local market, so I know that the travel, as long as it's within that radius, is covered in the price that I've got.
Yeah.
Where if, a wedding 10 minutes down the road to you is very different to one which is 4 hours away.
Yeah.
That does command a different price. But at least if you gave someone a jumping off point, or a bit more information, they could then do that, go, oh, well, is this for us or not? Not just sell them the shiny, and then when it comes back and go, shit, that's loads of money.
Yeah.
Them feel embarrassed then that they go, I really thought you were half that money.
Yeah. I haven't actually listened to it yet, but I've heard, the Coda, latest episode of the Coda podcast is very good for this kind of thing, because it's got a few videographers that have recently had their weddings, and I know that I've been keeping up to date with, Bronte from Tinbox, like she's been posting stuff about her sort of wedding planning journey, and one of the things was, why do I have to inquire for a price? I've got like all of these contact forms to fill out, and if I've got I might like your stuff, but if your price isn't on there, that you're just another contact form I've got to fill out.
And I think as soon as you 180 it, it's really easy for photographers and videographers to get in their places on the internet and moan to other photographers and videographers. And that is comforting to know that you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to only ever see things from our side of the coin.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put yourself in your couple's shoes, that the second that ring goes on a bride's finger, I would imagine that the second scroll they have on Instagram, all of a sudden the venues ads start coming up, the photographers ads start coming up.
Yeah.
And before they've even told their family they're engaged, like the algorithm knows. And then if all of that's like click to inquire. And it's like, they're like, well, the first step is to find a venue. And they go, oh, there's 5 venues that we like. They've all got an A4 length of contact form. And probably they don't know half the answers to some of those questions at the moment. Like, do they know half the answers to some of the questions that we want to ask from them?
Yeah.
So maybe, as soon as you think that, I don't think my contact form is that long or there's that much to ask. A lot of it there is for my own benefit. I want to know how they found me so I can market to those things.
Same.
I want to know what they like in my work to prove that they're just looking for a photographer. But if they had to fill that out 10 times, it's freaking exhausting.
I looked at mine yesterday because of that as well. And it's like, I want to know who your photographer is.
Yeah.
I want to know like how you found me. I want to know if where you're getting ready is different to your venue and things like that. And okay, like maybe that is quite a lot. And if you like you say, if you had 10 forms to fill in like mine, but then there's a case of, then there's what I put in here is, the couples that I kind of want to target are couples that go, yes, I like that style in him well enough that I would really want to fill out all this information on the contact form, and not people that be like, oh yeah, no, we don't like them that much to do that. Yeah. But do I now need to target those people in order to survive as a business? It's
hard, isn't it? Because I always felt that. Like I always want people, and whether how needy or egotistical that sounds, I want people to book me, not just book a photographer.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I agree, and I'm sure we've said it multiple times on this podcast, that the contact form, or even the way that you word your website and the rest of it, is naturally vetting some people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some people that if I did take my price away would go, oh, we really love this guy's stuff and get in touch. But at the same time, it's still when you then you reveal the price, there's probably only such a small number of those people that go, we can stretch to that. Because we like it so much.
Yeah.
If we'd known the price, would they have inquired in the first place? They may would have instantly been those people going to the clothes shop and looking at the tag going, no, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
And don't even try it on.
Clicking off, yeah.
And just click off straight away. So maybe the starting price thing, or at least giving people a bit of a clue, is maybe the halfway house. But I think that the world of the way people book is definitely changing.
Yeah.
And because everything else you can get so immediately now, you can go onto like a clothing website from ASOS, you can order something in 4 different sizes, it gets you a house the next day, you try it all on and you send back what you don't like. It's all faceless, isn't it? And I know that obviously we're human beings turning up to their weddings, but I still think maybe on that initial level of like getting in touch or just getting people to the party or even getting them to a call or whatever they need, there's got to be some way that maybe like we're the problem. Do you know what I mean? Or the industry, or again going back to the being a crab thing, because all of us have very similar contact forms offering very similar questions. If we had similar ways of doing things.
But how much of what you believe in do you have to scrape off before you get to a point where you're like keeping up with the market?
I guess it just depends on how quiet you get, isn't it? Or get to that point where you go, well, if I keep fielding this little inquiries or keep getting ghosted this much, I'm not going to have a calendar of weddings enough next year. Or at the same time, do you do what you did last year and go, well, I've just got to try something. So you took your prices off for a month to see if that was the answer. And for you, it wasn't.
No. I'm genuinely thinking like for the next experiment, it's like once they fill out a contact form, it comes back like I literally click a button that says, yes, I'm available. Here's a booking form. And just see if they book without a call.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I've always said, I don't want to book anybody without meeting them. But then that said, sometimes if I've met a couple at a wedding fair, we might have had literally a 5-minute conversation on the day. But you can tell in that really short time, yes, you're for me, no, you're not. And so a lot of times if they come back that evening or the next day and go, oh, we met you yesterday, we want to book you. A lot of times I would even say, but do you want to call or do you just want to book? Because I know them. And it's like, I'm not sure I want to go back to filling, like maybe that's the experiment is do that and see how much still aligns. Because I think then that would be the real testament as to how good your website is at attracting or detracting the people that you do or don't want. Like, I always think or always say, oh, I'd love to get on a call with people so I can tell whether I want to shoot their wedding as much as they want me. But it's like, it's out of 350 weddings I've thrown and loads and loads of calls, I've probably still only ever had twice where I've actually said this ain't going to work for me. Said no. Same, so you think that's such small margins? That's like 1 or 2%, isn't it? Or not even that. If I've done like 350 weddings, and it's only been 1 or 2 couples I've ever had to turn around and go, no, I don't want to shoot your wedding. By the time they've been filtered
down by your website and then even by the contact form, and you're like, and actually, it's not.
If they're happy to get to a point where they're saying they're reading your copy, they're looking at your work, going, yes, we can afford that. That's in budget. Really. Like, there'd have to be something pretty catastrophic on that call for you to turn around and go, no, I don't want to book them. It just makes me feel better about it because I can see the face. Do you know what I mean? So I was trying to think, well, do I need that? Like, it's making me question lots of things. Or I think it's really easy to stand there in like a forum of 200 other photographers and videographers going, ghosting's terrible. Oh, it's so bad, isn't it? And you feel that you're included in that kind of woe. But it's like, when it comes down to it though, that's the stuff that's not going to fill your diary. You need to work out not why it's what you can do about it.
Why and how you can change your processes or whatever to try and fix that. And like I say, it just comes back to the fact that we don't really know why it is, but it is. I think it's the first thing that I've done, and I messaged you about this the other day, and was like, mate, do you have a brochure? Because I was like, well, all my brochure is just my website condensed into a PDF. And I think, what a waste of time for people to read. So my first step for the last couple of weeks...
ask couples that have actually booked you, did you read it?
And most people hadn't. Well, some people had, because I had a few people like, oh yeah, I really relate to that bit, or I sent a notice in your FAQs that said that. But generally, like, I would get onto the call and be like, so we have a question, what time did you turn up? And I'd be like, oh, that was in the FAQs and the brochure. They clearly haven't read probably the most important bit of the brochure, because that's not the bit that was on the website. but they clearly hadn't read it. So I thought I'll take this off. And it's only recently I've done it, so I've not had it like too many results. But now I just link to the films page. I'll say, if you haven't seen my films, here's the page. If you haven't seen my prices, here's the packages page. Otherwise, you can book a call here.
And that's what I was done. I was thinking, again, you're just doubling up, or you're giving them. Yeah. If there was something really juicy in that brochure, again, if you weren't someone that was showing your prices, to then get the brochure. But I would still, again, maybe coming from my cynical place of always have my prices on the website, that if I tried to put myself in a bride and groom's shoes who were sat there on a Sunday evening working out their wedding budget, and then with 8 photographers' brochures, they would skim past the lovely picture of you holding your camera and probably the sum of your work and the collection is. They just want to find that number.
Yeah.
They'll just scroll through and go, full day, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Boom, it's this much. Okay, we'll add them to this.
You can see it on the analytics, can't you? When you see what people click on when they go onto your homepage. Yes. Normally it's click straight to packages.
I found that, and I know a lot of people say, after your homepage, your portfolio is next most viewed. Mine isn't. Yeah. Mine is constantly my homepage and then my pricing page. Yeah. And the portfolio then, and the about comes after that. So you do know that in the way that people do look now is, I think a lot of people can be persuaded by something which looks great. I'd love a Ferrari. I think they look lovely, but I can't afford one. Yeah. So I'll stick to looking. Yeah. So again, when I came to going to buy a new car, I naturally started to look at the Fords, the Skodas, whatever, because the branding or whatever led to the point that they were in my price bracket. And then I was like, okay, let's find the best one of those that I can afford, which is the most reliable and safe thing. And I know buying for a wedding, there's emotional spend there against reason sometimes.
Yeah, but would you argue that like this is kind of like a little bit native to the wedding industry? It's like going back to the whole manual work thing. You don't have to fill a contact form. Like what kind of coffee have you got in your house? Like, do you have a comfortable place for me to have dinner and things like that? Do you? Because they're not taking it personally. They go,
again, if you liken it to tradies,
they
don't say, what do you like about my electrics?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what do you like about Dave, who's going to come and spend 3 weeks in your house? Yeah. You normally, again, they have an about me page, barely sometimes. Yeah. Here's a list of testimonials. Here's the work we do. Yeah. And then they come in and go, normally, name, when do you want the work done by? Where do you live? Short message.
Yeah.
It's kind of think, well, and I've got, again, names, addresses, or name, phone number, Instagram handle. Like, where's your wedding? What date is your wedding? Tell me a little bit about yourselves. What do you like about my work? Yeah. Like, where did you find, and then you're starting to get, well, if they're filling that out multiple times, then you wonder or get upset when you feel it's copy and pasted. Because I don't want to write my love story out once or twice before I got fed up of even telling somebody, we've been together for 10 years and we love to go to the cinema.
Yeah.
You get bored of yourself, wouldn't you?
Think about if like me and you walked into like really high-end clothes shops where you had to then like go in, you get a personal shopper, they ask you all of your likes and dislikes and what you like about the brand and whatever, and then they go and pick out bits for you. If you did that, if me and you went shopping for one day and did that like 5 times, I'd be so bored of telling the last person.
But even now when you go to a shop, and you get it a lot more in the States, that person at the door, what are you looking for today? I'm just looking, thanks. I don't know what I want yet. I just want to look. And if that's almost like when you land on your website, if someone appeared and was like, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want a book?
Yeah.
Or you went to buy a car. It's like that. Or the guy that's
phone. It used to be like that for phones. Yeah. You'd walk in, they'd be like, oh, you're looking for anything today? No, I'm just looking. Okay, what have you got currently? Yeah. Oh, well, I'm just looking. Yeah, but what have you got currently? Or, are you looking for a good camera? And it's like, no, just leave me alone. Like,
just let me look.
Yeah. I just want to pick up something, buy it. I don't want to be like guided through this process of. And I think maybe like the wedding industry, we're all trying to give this like big extravagant client experience before you book. Like, we're going to have a call because I value you so much that we're going to have a call before you book, and then we're going to have look at our lovely brochure that you can print out and show to your friends and whatever. Maybe like the world is changing and you need a button that says we're available, book. And that's it.
Or almost
maybe that's why we're getting ghosted.
You see it as vetting and refining the process. They just see it as barriers to getting that thing booked. And again, like a lot of the couples that I shoot for both work full time and in fairly high powered jobs, and a lot of times they're just busy. And like they appreciate that most people that they inquire with want to get them on a call. And I said, well, I mean, you've added it to your CRM now, but me introducing that tidy cow for going, here are my appointments, you book one. And they can just go on there and go, we're free then, book, done.
Rather than the back and forth.
It's not the back and forth when you're free. Oh, can you do that in the evening? No, I don't do evenings. Like all of that is just barriers all the time. So putting the tidy calendar thing was reducing that barrier. But maybe the call is still a barrier. Like I say, maybe there just needs to be 2 links at the bottom of the website and go, in terms of our journey, you go 2 ways. You speak to me or you book me. And at some point, and when some people maybe inquire and are that heightened off this work, guys, it works, so it's great, this and that. We can get that ticked off tonight.
Yeah. And when they're instantly coming, for me anyway, like I get a lot of, and it's kind of weird how this works out, because I get a lot of people inquiries saying, like we're not too comfortable on camera, but then once I get there, it's a different vibe to what they say. But you say, and we're not too comfortable on camera, like we're after a bit of a relaxed affair, and you're like, let's jump on a call and have a chat. Like maybe they just, we're not comfortable on camera, we're not really comfortable on a Zoom chat. So, and
I think that's another thing as well, isn't it? The amount of times that I have couples that you jump on a call with, and they're like, we haven't done Zoom since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Where to us, it's so normal to just still jump on a Zoom. Like, I remember pre-COVID, if you asked someone to video call, it was really alien. They were like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. And I feel like COVID, because everyone Zoomed their friends and family, it became a lot more normal. Yeah. But in still some worlds, the world's gone back to the way it was. And just for us, it's really normal just to jump on a Zoom. Yeah. And some people, again, it will still be normal. If they work from home, they're probably on Teams, at calls most days. But to some people, that still feels like a big effort. Or to, oh my God, I've got to find a clean corner of my house to like speak to this guy in, because then you turn up immaculately lit in your studio style office, and like they're in their jammies sat in the corner like of their sofa, and then
sometimes I have to download the app and sign into something, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing here.
It's like, hang on, do you not? Like I've got to go and put clothes on because I have pajamas on all day. I've got to brush my hair before getting on the call with this guy, otherwise he's going to think I'm a right and don't want to book me.
Yeah,
so maybe
you need something to like whittle down or just get an idea of their personality. Like when I'm on that call with the couple or before the booking, I always say, look, like I know it doesn't feel like it, but in this call and the one we have later on before the wedding, I'm like getting an idea of who you guys are as people, and it helps me make a better film. So not only by getting rid of the call, not only you're removing a barrier to booking and maybe getting more bookings, but are you eventually going to make worse stuff because your relationship with the couple isn't what it could be, and things like that. It's really hard.
If you looked over, I think every year I have wedded couples that you just naturally gel with more.
Yeah.
Like I have some couples that they love an excuse to get on a call with me. Some of them instantly follow you on Instagram and they reply to all your stories. Yeah. So when I put up stuff about my dog or where I've been on holiday, they're invested. Yeah. But because they do that to me, I probably follow their stories more because they appear in my top bar. Yeah. So when they're off, we've just had a quick few days away here, I'm texting them, going, this looks sick. Where did you and that's how you naturally have that rapport anyway. And also then you get other couples that just want to book. Yeah. They want someone they like and they're going to get on with, but they don't want to be your mate.
They can tell that from your website. We'll book you. Yeah.
And you can often tell from the call. They're the calls that are 20 minutes long, not the ones where it's counting down with 1 minute in the corner and the couple are still asking you what you got for dinner when you get like, do you know what I mean? There's naturally different. So maybe that trying to treat every couple with the one... Like I think, and that's definitely, again, a lot of this episode is not us telling you what to do. Or a lot of what my ideas have just been kind of literally thinking aloud and kind of soundboarding. Yeah. And I still think that maybe when we get off here or over the next coming days, that almost that kind of flowchart of booking, that at the bottom of my initial inquiry now, it might just be these are the two options for how we proceed.
If you book now or you jump on a call.
If you want your hand holding or you want some more information, here's a link to book a call. Yeah. If you feel really happy and would like to get booked in, here's the link to a quote.
Yeah.
Knowing that my quotes are, I have a template for kind of a full day quote, or even again take away some of the fluff in the contact form and be what are you looking for? Half day, full day, so I know what quote to send. And it's like if you can literally streamline that process, and most of the weddings are still going to be, even now that lead times are getting shorter, you've still got a bunch of time to get to know those people, or sometimes you don't need to get to know those people.
I can take like prep location off probably in my contact form because randomly I'm doing a lot more church weddings coming up. And I think like people, I know like that I think it's hitched like surveys can be a load of rubbish anyway sometimes, but they are saying that like Gen Z are going back to churches and things like that. And one of the reasons I do have that in my sort of questionnaire contact form is because to sort of whittle out whether they're doing a church wedding, because sometimes you get, we're getting married at this barn, and you're like, oh cool, that sounds really good.
Reception.
And you find out like they're getting ready at the house and they're going to a church, they're going to the barn. And I was like, wow, this is going to be like a triple wedding.
And it's hard, isn't it? Because and again, like I had an inquiry the other day for a December wedding, and it's interesting, like, well, I don't ask ceremony time on my initial contact form, but if I just sent them a link to book and they found it's a 3 p.m. ceremony, I'd be like, this is a big difference to again as to how, and they'd already booked me by then, there's nothing I could do about it. But at the same time, I think I could only educate in that moment to them to go, or like again for you, if you find out that your prep location's a half-hour drive from the church, at that point on the call, would you turn around and go, well, I'm done, then I ain't doing it?
No.
You probably wouldn't, would you? As much as you might think it and go, that's a ball ache. Yeah. If it's a good-looking booking for a couple that seem nice, the chances are you'd probably moan about it, but you'd still do it
anyway. Yeah.
So you kind of think, well, what's the issue? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think maybe that is the problem. That I think it's really easy to go into Facebook groups and stuff and join, get your sign of we're being ghosted and do this and that. But I think it's really, we're all running our own businesses, and whilst it's nice to feel that you're not, that you're not the only one that's getting stuff ignored, then it must suck if you're sitting on a call for an hour with couples, multiple evenings a week, for them to just hear nothing. Yeah. That is really not a way to feel valued in your business.
Also, I wonder if these people are being like upfront with the couples on what they expect to happen afterwards, because I put this in my notes that like for probably all of the time I've been doing this, I've only had 2 people I've had calls with who have then gone with someone else, but in the last couple of months I've had another two who have literally, so like it's that rate is increasing pretty rapidly where I'm having calls with them. One of them was like, we're going to book you, sounds absolutely incredible, we love your stuff. I met up with them at a wedding fair, we walked around the venue, it was all gravy. Then they booked someone else. I was like, right, okay. And then the other one was a bit of an awkward call anyway, so I kind of understood it. But they both came to me and actually told me, because on the call I had said, if you go book someone else, I would really like to know, just so that I can like cross it off the list and whatever. Is that something that people are asking after their calls? Or they're just going, let me know if you want to book me? And when they don't,
or are they following up at all? I think that's it. And also, again, we kind of know how the journey works because that's all we do. But in the same way that, if you speak to any web designer, when we had the episode with Sophie, like when she went through our websites, it was, there needs to be more call to action buttons. Maybe in that verbal or in that booking process as well, there needs to be, in the same way that initial inquiry, when you respond, go, these are your options, you call me or you book me, that at the end of that call again as well, you come back with are you going to book? Or if you don't tell me within 7 days, your inquiry's getting scrubbed off and it's going back out into the pond for someone else to take.
That's what I've done for a couple of years.
And I think that's almost, if they, perhaps in some ways, people are leaving it too loosey. I do. I always say to the couple, I don't want to force you into a decision on the call, but if you could let me know within the next few days, that would be great. Because that way, then if you don't want me, I can open that date up to somebody else. And again, I'm aware now that that's maybe too aloof. There should be a preset email that goes out 7 days after that call that more or less says, this quote, the quote that I've made for you is going to expire, more or less, and then the date goes back out to other people. Almost put a deadline on it. And in some ways, you might call some people's bluff and they'll go, we're not ready to make a decision yet, and it'll expire. But for other people, it's, you know what I mean? If you give someone a deadline, they'll meet it. But life is busy. I know what it's like. If I've got a parcel in the Amazon locker to go and pick up, some days it's the last day and it's like, crap, it's been there for 3 days. I still haven't gone around and got it. But if I know,
the email's coming in saying,
if I don't go and get it within that day, it's going back to Amazon. I kind of my thing. I'll make sure I go and get it by that time. And if you think, okay, we're planning a wedding, maybe within 6 months because people are leaving lead time shorter. If I don't tell this guy by Friday whether we want him or not,
the date's going somewhere else.
And so then maybe then, if you're one of the other 3 photographers that are waiting for them to get back to them, they'll make that decision. They have to. If they really want you, we'll go, oh, well, the other guy didn't get back to me, so you've got the booking. And so again, I mean, there's loads of ways, and we definitely have all the answers. I'm guilty of some of the things in there, and I definitely moan to my wife or to you when I do get ghosted. Like, oh, that was a great wedding. I never heard back from them. And then you follow up, and they don't hear back. It's annoying. But at the same time, I still think in some ways it's a fact of life.
There's more options. People are shopping around more. There is definitely the Amazon Prime effect. We probably take more pride in our booking process and having the calls and whatever than the couples do. And we don't know, they probably just want to get on and get it done, basically. I think until we experiment things, and like sat here sometimes now, I feel like when I was talking about earlier about like how much of that like process of our business that we love do we throw away just to get bookings? Like, isn't that just what everybody who is growing old in a business has to do? And be like, all the people with all the like slightly probably older generation of photographers that got all their bookings through wedding fairs and from bringing wine and chocolates to a wedding venue, so they still got recommended, have had to change their perspective on things and start posting random stuff on Instagram instead. So why can't we adapt and change?
That's it. I agree that, again, I just don't think you're going to see me like, downloading TikTok and dancing anytime soon. But again, maybe that's a really old man opinion of what TikTok is. I know it is. But I think, again, people make those assumptions, don't they? And I think when the facts are that if you want to stay in this business, that you always need to evolve.
Adapt,
or you need to carve a niche for yourselves. That you need to be the best person in that niche, or get yourself set up into a point where you are the best option. And when it comes down to that booking journey, I think the summary from all of this that I've kind of taken away is that my neediness sits in this hand, and efficiency to booking or barriers to booking sit in the other hand, and you've got to weigh that scale of I need to get enough information that I don't keep booking couples, which would be major red flags for me because I've made it too easy for them to book without giving away some of their stuff, but I need to give away enough of what my information of what I do want to put out, or maybe the websites just need to be a lot more blunt so that they are actively repelling those people, and you are doing a much better job of nailing in that you won't get those inquiries.
Yeah, I like to think that mine is kind of like that anyway. Like I actively say, I don't do this, I don't do that, and that hopefully helps. Even though, like with yourself, like it means that I filled a lot less inquiries. And it does mean that the ones that do come through, pretty much their message always resonates with me. It's like, yes, I agree with that. Let's get on the call.
Which in that alone then should say to you that maybe do we need the call?
No, because they already know.
It's like, who's the call for then? Is it for them or is it for me? And I think it's those things, isn't it? It's really easy to be needy in our business and go, well, I want it. And it's like, well, if that's a step too far, and that's the difference in you getting booked or not. If someone else just made it easier for them, is that why they got it and you didn't?
So
it's been a good chat.
That's a good place to end that.
It's been a wild episode, hasn't it? I think it's led in a few places that we maybe didn't even expect it to go. But no, I think hopefully that echoes a lot of statements that a lot of people are feeling at the moment. And again, I think we've said it in a few episodes recently, is that you've probably just got to take a little bit of a hard look at yourself, but also just walk down the road in your couple shoes rather than listen to other photographers sometimes.
Adapt, change, experiment. Like I think that's a key thing. Is like we spoke about this last episode before about like being like trying new things and experimenting, even if it goes wrong, because it eventually you will find something that makes you different and makes you.
And I think that's something you're really good at as well. I think, or something that I think since we've been doing this podcast that has encouraged me to do more is I've always been, well, what if it goes wrong? And it's like, no, the only way that businesses evolve is by trying something, failing and going in a different direction. And for some people to like even to take their prices off their website or add them on sounds like such a big step, or that I'm just going to build this. But I think that you're really good at looking at things maybe more analytically, or going, I've just got to try this, even if it's for a set period and it doesn't work. What have I learned from it? So I know not to do it again. Or if it does work, that's the next thing. And I think that you do that experimental, or are much braver to make those decisions because you can maybe make them with a more analytical head, where I think I let my heart get involved too much in it sometimes. And then that stifles my ability to change.
You might feel like gutted that you haven't got like a certain amount of inquiries that month because you changed something, and it would be a quick fix to like go back to how you were before, sort of thing.
But it's too easy to go back to the way you were before because you felt that's how it worked. But you're not going to move on that way or evolve. All
right. Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you in the next one.